Hello everyone, today's video is going to be a hypothetical video where I am only keeping 10 eyeshadow palettes in my collection. This was kind of hard to try and figure out which 10 I would keep in this hypothetical world. I saw recently my friend Melissa did this on her channel, so I will leave her channel and her video linked down below. Melissa and I do have different makeup tastes. I am definitely a little bit more bold. I am definitely a little bit more colorful in my makeup. She is definitely everyday appropriate in my brain and my eyes, but she just has a different mindset with her makeup and how she does things, and I think it's really amazing to see how everyone is just so different in their makeup styles, and like that's what makes the world go round. So I will definitely leave Melissa down below, and these are my 10 palettes that I would choose if I could only keep 10. And because these are the only 10 and hypothetically I could keep, I'm not getting rid of any of my eyeshadow palettes. I have to be a little bit strategic. Is that the way you say it? I can't speak words, but I can't just choose my top 10 favorite palettes. And if that's the case, I really don't know what my top 10 palettes would be. But I have to be a little bit more careful because, you know, what if I choose all of my favorite palettes and because I do really like color, I just don't have any neutrals, and like when I need a neutral, like where am I going to get it from? So I do have to be a little bit more careful in trying to figure out hypothetically in this world what palettes I would keep. And because I can only keep so many, I do have quite a few larger palettes in here. Bigger bang for your buck practically, because if I can only keep 10 palettes, I'd rather keep 10 bigger palettes where I have more options and more variety. And as my collection currently stands, I have a little over 80 palettes. As it stands, I would be leaving 80% of my collection to the wayside, and that's just the way this game works. And if you guys have a channel or anything, I would love to see your videos. If you don't have a channel, comment them down below. Like, what are the 10 palettes that you would keep if hypothetically you had to get rid of them all? So as you guys know, I am a colorful makeup wearer. Today I am wearing some pretty grungy green sort of colors, but I am a colorful makeup lover. And I don't know if this is cheating, but I do have an entire palette of bright eyeshadows. So I would pick my Beauty Bay 42 color palette. This is the Bright 2.0. And for me to keep this, I literally have all options available to me. I don't really like the shimmer formula in here. It would really be just a large selection of mattes, because I'm thinking of the other palettes that are sitting right beside me. Like, I really don't have a whole lot of yellow options. Like, this is, like, I would say a little bit more of a pastel yellow, true yellow, and more of an orangey yellow. Like, okay, so that box is checked. Like, I have a matte white, I have a matte black, I have a large range of pinks, purples, blues, greens, reds, oranges, and there's like dabbles of neutral. So I think this palette is just very universal, and I think of this really as like a matte palette. The shimmers are just not my favorite. They're not the sparkly, intense shimmers that we, you know, use and love all the time. But I really like this for mattes, and I really like this to pair with other palettes, although you can definitely just use this palette. And it's really big, very universal, and I think honestly it's like your best bet. So we got color out of the way. Now I'm thinking neutrals. So we have warmer neutrals and cooler neutrals. I kind of stray away from cooler tone neutrals. I just think warmer tones just look better on me. That's just my personal opinion. But this palette has definitely some cooler tones in it, but then it also has some other stuff, also has some other things to pique my interest. So I am choosing my Blend Bunny, the Dollhouse palette. Again, this is also discontinued. So many of these palettes are discontinued. I am not going to be sorry. But these are my perfect cool tones. I don't need gray, and if I do, like, this is a little bit of a gray here. Like, that's just not the makeup I go towards on a regular basis. We do have a warmer row if I so please, but we have some greens and purples and pinks, and then some like true neutrals. And you have some pops of color in here, like you have the blue, you have the purple, you have this like greeny, pinky sort of shades, but like these are my types of cooler toned neutrals. Blend Bunny Matte formula is also extremely lovely. I actually like these shimmers because this is like an older formula for them. I mean, the palettes as a whole is discontinued, but this palette is just so good. I can do so many different looks with this, and it's one of those ones, it's a bigger palette and just gives you more variety, gives you more options. My second palette that would fill in the cooler toned neutral spot would be my Huda Rose Quartz palette. I love Huda's formula, I really do. This one does have my like go-to cool tones. Like this is such a perfect transitional color, and then this shade in the crease is really pretty. You do have some cooler toned shimmers, but what also ticks my boxes with this is you have an array of pinks. And as you guys know, I love pink eyeshadow just as much as I love green eyeshadow, but I love, love, love pink eyeshadow, and this ticks a box for me. It has very universal shades in it, and there are some special shades in here that just look like your eyelid is wet, and it just looks stunning and beautiful. Also think this is discontinued. I don't think Huda has like any of her larger palettes. We went over some cooler neutrals. Now I'm thinking of warmer neutrals. Like what in my collection will give me that? I do have some oranges and reds and stuff in that Brights palette. There is some warm tones in the Dollhouse palette. So I'm gonna personally pull out my Cosmic Brushes The Neutrals palette because this is amazing. I think of this as like a true neutral leaning warm because you definitely have some warmer tones in here, but like these are like perfect neutral shades. This also has an amazing and beautiful shimmer formula. I had to pull in at least one of my Cosmic Brushes palettes in here. I almost pulled in two. Actually, do I have any duplicating brands in here? I don't. I don't have any brand in here that has more than just one, which I think is kind of, you know, universal, unique. I don't know. I'm not hyper focusing on one specific brand, but this definitely will give me the vibes that I want. There is also some like pinkier options. There's some greens in here. There is just other options in here as well, but I primarily think of it as a warm to neutral palette. Very similar to what I have on my eyes today. I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, I would love to have one of my Natasha Denona palettes in here. This palette is just the most universal. I love all the shades in it, and it does have like a very warm neutral vibe going into grungy green. And by now you probably are thinking it is a Natasha Denona Yucca palette, and this is not on the eyes today. I'm wearing friend mail today that I got yesterday, so I really wanted to play with a palette that I recently just got. But this is such a unique and like lovely palette. There is definitely warmer options. So you have this warm orangey shade. This is a like cream to powder. You have this warm color, this warm color. You do have a nice like neutral brown to like ground it out. There is very unique shades in here, and I just think this palette is so universal. It is very difficult to kind of like pan Natasha Denona, but there are dips in this palette, and I really, really enjoy this palette. And I'm sure I could have made something very similar with this palette that's on my eyes right now. But I'm feeling like with these 10 palettes, like I really could just do whatever looks that I want or need. I have like two true colorful palettes. One of them is Brights. This one I have in my hand is more like pastels. I have two cooler toned palettes, two warmer toned palettes, and then the last four is kind of just random things. So I really should have talked about this when I talked about my colorful eyeshadow. I love color, but I also love pastels. And the pastel palette that I would choose, I would 110% choose the Garden of Juvias from Juvia's Place. This is a beautiful palette, and it has so many beautiful, lovely shades. You do get some really pretty mattes in here, and you could use other palettes in my range here to deepen up or like alter my eye look in one way, shape, or form. But the primary reason I chose this over, let's say, my Tokyo Harajuku palette, for example, or some other palettes that has some pastels in it, it is just that these shimmers kind of run on top. They are beautiful, they are impactful, they're pigmented, they have a really nice base to them, and I think this palette would just be the most universal. There is some special shades in here. I hope you guys can see like how beautiful they are. I can't wait for the springtime for me to really take this out. As you can see, especially in these like yellows, I have some nice dips in here. I'm thinking about these palettes that I have chosen this far, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, what would I travel with? Like if I go to the beach, like what would I travel with if I go to, like I'm going to a friend's house? Like I don't go to a friend's house overnight or anything. So, but I'm thinking to myself, like if we go on vacation, like what would I want or choose? And it had to be something on the smaller side. It had to have something with a mirror. It had to have something that I could wear day to day and not feel uncomfortable or anything. I chose my Tarte Tartelette Juicy palette. I love this palette so much. It's been in my collection for a long time. And this is the, like I guess the smaller iteration of this. They did make a bigger one, but this also has my pink eyeshadows in it that I love so much. So we have literally a row of pinks. We have a more warm peachy sort of column, but then we have literally true neutrals. This palette just has so many options. Some of these shimmers I'm just like not a big fan of. Like I could care less about some of these like really bright pink shimmers, but maybe I should give them another shot. I don't know. I don't know if you guys can tell, but there is some deep dips in this palette. I don't know if you can tell them or not. Deep dips, and I love this palette. I think it's very special to me. It's very universal in my collection, and this would be my like travel palette, but it also kind of leans in with my pinks that I love so much, and it also leans into some basic neutrals. These last three palettes are pretty much just like fun free-for-all sort of palettes. And these are three of like my favorite indie brands, and I just need some indie brand love in my life. I mean, I love Cosmic Brushes, I already mentioned them, and I love Natasha Denona, already mentioned them. Blend Bunny is amazing, already mentioned them. But like, I felt like I couldn't go without these three brands in my life. As you guys have noticed, I don't really have a whole lot of blues in my collection thus far, and I do have like grungy greens and stuff. I mean, that bright palette really just like runs the gamut on a lot of different things, but I would pick my Nomad Pacific Northwest palette. This one is just so great. I love it so much. Like you have blues and greens, and then you have some really nice neutral everyday options, and I just think this is very universal. I think this is very unique in my collection. Like this would be something that if it was no longer in my collection, I would be very, very sad. I'd be very upset. It has some toned down colors that the Brights palette would not give me. It has some specialized shimmers in here. Like this color is like blue, and then it goes green. I hope you guys can see the shiftiness of it. This color right here is the most stunning color ever. I wore this the other day. It was beautiful. I think these shades just have something special in them, and I would be very upset if I didn't have it. It's my favorite Nomad palette out of all of them, and I think the most universal. Fantasy Cosmetica is like one of my all-time favorite brands as well, and I only own the 9 pans. This is the smallest palette that I have in this video. It's just that I don't have any of the bigger Fantasy Cosmetica palettes, to be honest with you, but I wanted one that would be the most unique in my collection, in this like hypothetical collection. So these colors from the Wizard palette, is not something that I have elsewhere. I really don't have these like really light blues. Like this is a very bold blue. We have a little bit darker purple. Just these shimmers and everything are just so beautiful. Like I don't have these elsewhere. And I was thinking maybe I should add like my Winter Wonderland palette, or maybe my Simply Posh Snow Angel palette or something. And I'm very sad like I did not fit in a Simply Posh palette because I love Simply Posh's palettes and their formula and everything. These shimmers are just more special than Simply Posh. Like these mattes I think are better than Simply Posh. Like overall I like Fancy Cosmetica's formula better. And I'm trading off formula for less shades. And this is a beautiful palette, and I think it's very unique. It is going to be the smallest palette that is in this like hypothetical situation, but I think it is worthy enough to be with the big dogs. And the last big dog we're going to talk about is who is shocked, honestly. Secret Garden from Bella Beauté Bar. And it probably is my favorite palette across the board. What helps this palette out is because of its size. Like, you just have a little bit more versatility in this. But also, like, I have a row of neutrals. This is really grounding this palette, giving me a lot of options. You have varieties of pinks here. Again, a lot of options. I should have just thrown the two greens in here so you can really see the true palette. But you have a range of greens that I do not think overlap with my Nomad palette or with the Yucca palette or anything. And then we have some really pretty like blue tealy shades that I definitely don't have in any of those other palettes. Like this palette just is giving a lot. And this palette also is giving some special shimmers. And like this is a holographic neutral. I don't think you can tell. But like it just has some very special shimmers. These mattes are beautiful. Just so good. Like I would not be disappointed. I mean, I would be disappointed if these were my only 10 palettes because like I love my entire collection. Like there are a lot of other palettes up on this bookshelf that I just love so dearly and I would miss greatly if I had to actually do this hypothetical situation. But these 10 palettes really run the gamut. I'm doing neutral to colorful to special shades, a good variety of mattes and shimmers, different shimmer formulas. Like I have like, you know, the holographic shades, the duochromes, and like the things I would need or want. I have a variety of lightness and brightness, but I still have darker shimmers if I want to go that route. And I have my pinks covered. I have, honestly, the only thing I'm really thinking of is purple, but I have them in the Brights palette. And there is some shades leaning purple in my Huda palette. There are some purples in the Garden of Juvias. I think I'll be fine. I think I'd be fine purple-wise. But really, every single color, like I did my pinks, my blues, and my greens are definitely covered. And I really am impressed with my hypothetical situation. I'm kind of proud of myself for coming across my selections. I want to know, what would you keep if you could only keep 10 palettes in this hypothetical world that we're all living in? And make sure you check out Melissa. I did get this video idea from her. And I would love for you guys to subscribe if you guys like makeup related content, eyeshadow palette related content. I do project panning on this channel. So if that sounds up your alley, I recommend you subscribe. YouTube tells me about 50% of you guys aren't subscribed. So make sure you do that. Make sure you like this video, hype it up if you enjoyed. Comment down below what palettes you'd have in this hypothetical situation. I love and appreciate all of you guys so much, and I shall see you guys next time.